What's up, man? Guys and dolls, Freedom Dad at the chimney corner, and it's pissing down. But it's a beautiful day. It's always a beautiful day in the Patriot world, and we've got not big numbers, obviously, because of the rain. The police are in the cars. The police are getting sheltered over there, so they are. We've got a police car. We've got Freedom Dad's Land Rover behind you there with the camera. We've got four officers sitting down there hiding on the right because we went down the town and seen them. Just coincidental. We weren't staking nothing out PSNA. We were just turning and just happened to be there. You know what I mean? But yeah. It is what it is, guys. It's an immigrant hotel. People believe they came here illegally, undocumented men who have came into this country, and we do also believe that it's not just like, I don't know, say 100 men. They believe that it's a system of men going through it. They're going through it. So there's 100 men in there right now, but maybe 40 of them men in the next couple of weeks might get pushed into society, into our council houses and into our working class areas, and mostly the most deprived areas in Belfast is where they're going. So I don't know how long we're going to last with the live. It is a wee bit windy. We are doing our best. We've got an umbrella up there, and I don't know how long the mic will last. Let me know if there's any problems with the sound. I can change up another mic. I can swap over to. But yeah, you can see. I don't know how much you can see. Can they see everybody? Do you want to turn it around? Let's let them see. There is enough numbers to create a presence, I imagine, and that's what it's all about. And this is where it comes down to you guys, because they're here in the piss and rain because they believe in suffering. They're here in the piss and rain because they know what's coming. They're here in the piss and rain because they want it stopped. And this is all they have: peaceful demonstrations at the side of the road to let the government know that we want this to stop. We don't want this in Northern Ireland. It's not working. It doesn't work in England. There's too many dangerous men coming in with these men, and you just don't know the difference between them. And then you're trying to bring in the ID and the masquerading that it's because of immigration. When we knew this was coming, we've been talking about this for years. That as soon as we seen this was happening, it was becoming a problem, and the government wasn't doing anything to stop it. We knew there was something afoot, as I like to say. And here we are, 2025, and you're hearing it. Digital IDs. And I imagine the people will resist. I know that's a deflection and it's something else people are going to, because a lot of people that aren't involved in mass immigration and what's going on with these bad men coming into our country, being allowed in here illegally, whether they get citizenship or not, they still came in illegally. The government that gives them citizenship is an illegitimate government who are traitors and doing everything to destroy this government, this country, our countries, and Ireland as well. And that's all going to be, as we go forward, it's going to be clearer and clearer for people to see, and that's, you can take that to the bank, guys. So, this is where we're at in Northern Ireland. We've got this going on. People are frustrated. People are coming out. It will get bigger and bigger as more things happen. If they keep letting people come in, there's going to be more crimes happening. There's lots and lots happening in our working class areas right now that I'm not reporting on because there are incidents that are happening. People need to come to me and say to me, this has happened to me or this has happened to my child, and I've reported it and nothing's happened, and then you need to come to me and tell your story. You know what I mean? That's the way it works. But the bottom line is, guys, there are something major's happening in Great Britain. There's cities in Great Britain now are unrecognisable. The amount of people who have come into the country is at a stage of replacement now, as we can see going forward in the next 20, 30 years because of childbirth rates of us and their childbirth rates. And there's many arms and legs that come off that. Okay, but I'm not going to go into it, you know what I mean? And, there's only one direction it can go in. And a lot of people are saying, and I'm not going to go into it about the politics of England and the political movements in England and stuff like that. To me, it's a shambles, and that's what I think. There's too many all broken up, and there's too much bickering, and he can't talk, and everybody listen to him and don't listen to him. That's not any good, This is a time, like I went doing in Northern Ireland, where we don't need any bickering. That's what will destroy us. Look where England is today. Look at London. It's all been done. All the bickering, everything that we're seeing in Northern Ireland happening now, that's what happened over there, and that's what allowed it to be happen because there was nobody there, and they never came together. They were all fighting amongst each other, and it was all inflated by the left and the media and the government, and it worked, and that's why England is where it is today. And now we've got digital IDs. Everybody's going to be up and on. It's all distractions, just like the boats. Everybody goes on, stop the boats. And a big respect to all these guys involved in stop the boat protests. But it's a deflection of what's really going on. The boats is seasonal. They can only go on fucking bad weather. And I know there's thousands coming in every day. But how many do you think are coming in across the year through summer, spring, autumn, and winter? Through legal methods and not returning. Through visas and not returning. They don't know the numbers. And that tells you everything. When they're not going to tell you, or they say we don't really know how many people that have came here and haven't returned, that should raise alarm bells in everybody's head, guys. Because there's two things that's going on here. One, they really don't know because they're that inadequate at running government or being anything and do anything in power, as we've seen with Lammy and Rachel from accounts, you know what I mean? The evidence is all there. Or two, they do know. And they know if they tell us, the game's a bogey. And I do believe that the amount of people that have come into England specifically, the numbers are phenomenal. And the government are terrified to tell the people how many people have come in, because instantly we will be able to work out how many men and women are in this country from other countries and what the birth rate will be in the next 25 to 30 years. And we will get a clear figure of how many people will then be in this country that have came into this country either illegally or through a treacherous government. And that's where we are at in England today. A replacement that cannot be hidden, that cannot be denied. And there's brighter and more intelligent people than me making calculations. And I always keep it conservative. I try and keep it as best. I always try and go with, like, if GB News want to jump out there and say there's a chance that things could be really changing in 25, 30 years, then I'll report on that and I'll tell you that's what they're saying. But there's many numbers out there, and this is the problem, because we don't know the facts. We don't have the numbers, you know what I mean? And we don't know how many people's coming into these hotels. We don't know how long they're staying in the hotel. We don't know where they're going to. And they're hiding the crimes. There's no media. Freedom Dad's in the Sunday papers every week, 3 weeks in a row, 8 out of 11. And when we have crimes done by migrants, there's a little section, or you don't hear nothing from it from mainstream media. You only hear about it in local news. That's what we're seeing in England. That's what we're seeing in Ireland. And we're starting to see it in Northern Ireland now. And, the clear message is to everybody that's in power is Northern Ireland doesn't want this. We are speaking up. We want our voices to be heard. We give us a referendum, do something. We want to have a decision in this. This is our country. We went through 60 years of violence and turmoil. Not so much in the last 20, but it was there still after the ceasefires. There were still feuds and people being unalived, and the place was a dangerous place. People were going to prison. People were having to visit loved ones, and people were having to bury their loved ones. And then everything that came along with that is just out there. And we are still getting through that. We have still people with PTSD and all sorts, and children as well coming up that weren't through the Troubles but are being born from people from the Troubles are still struggling, and there's nothing there to help any of us. And now we have this being forced upon us. And what I'm trying to say, guys, is we don't want this. The people in Northern Ireland don't want this. We haven't been asked, and we're not ready for it. We don't have the infrastructure for it. We don't have the mental health capabilities. We don't have the NHS capabilities. We don't have anything. Cheers, mate. Thanks. I'll hold on, mate. Thank you so much. We don't have the capabilities to look after our own. It's as simple as that. We have people waiting in ambulances for 8 hours. We have children not getting the medical care that they need. We have families having to spend their life savings to go private to save their children's lives. That's fact. You can Google it. And we're bringing people from foreign countries, i.e. Gaza, to take the place of children in our country to give them medical care. Where in any world does that make sense? We've got 55 Muslim countries around the world. 10 of them a lot better off than us. Why Northern Ireland? Nothing about the children. Don't allow them to use empathy to destroy your country, because that was the tool that they used in England Okay? They use empathy. They use the kindness of the Northern Irish people to replace us. That's what they will do. That's what they done in England. They start with the children. Oh, we're going to bring some children over from Gaza because they need special operations and that. Not thinking that we're just going to go, oh, of course, because we're so kind. The Northern Ireland people are the most kindest people in the world, but we're not stupid. Okay? We are not stupid. There's other places they can go. Why Northern Ireland? This is the question that people keep asking. Why Northern Ireland? The 6 counties of Northern Ireland. Out everywhere they could go and get treatment. Why do our kids have to get put back to allow other kids from other countries to take the treatment that they should have got? It's not rocket science, as I keep saying. It isn't misinformation. It isn't far right. It isn't racist. It's logical. It's just logical. Why? Why are you doing this to us? Out of all the places in the world that they can help the people that are running from whatever, right? Why Northern Ireland? That's all we want to know. The situation that we have in Northern Ireland, the problems that we have in Northern Ireland, why do you put this on top of us at this stage of the game? That's the questions we need answers. Because do you know why we want to ask them questions? Because I know the answers. And I know that they can't give you the answers. And that's the truth, and we will bring the answers that when we make sense of it all ourselves and we break down the rabbit holes that you need to go down, because it is out there, then you'll understand why Northern Ireland, you know. And I'm going to keep asking the politicians to tell us all why Northern Ireland, out of all the countries in the world, why are you doing this to us? And I'll tell you exactly what you'll get from the politicians. Sinn Féin, a lot of them, silence, because they can't tell you why. They're all compromised. They're being told what to do, and there's a bigger picture. They're suffering afoot, guys. Please believe me, they're suffering afoot. These guys know it. Everybody on here and watching this knows it. Everybody that's out doing other things in their lives with their families, taking their children to football, trying to have a normal life, they know it. Just because you don't see them out on the streets, everybody knows it, you know. And we're now talking about it, and there'll be more people talking about it because we're sick of it. We're sick watching the decline of our Great Britain, our union. We haven't had a political party in this country that didn't have unionists in it. And look in the neck of the place. And listen to the unionists now. Listen to the silence from the unionists while they watch our union get destroyed. Does it make any sense? That's why you won't get the answers. But we're not going to stop asking the answers. Why Northern Ireland? Why our children? Why the risk? Why put us in danger when you know what happens? You've seen exactly what happens. You can look at it. It's there for anybody to look at. And this is why they call me far right and racist. This is why they call us fascists, because they don't have any other answers. All they can do is shout abuse at Freedom Dad. Get their puppets in the newspapers to shout abuse. And Hugh Jordan, got a message from Hugh Jordan, wanting to sit down, have an interview, get my side of the story across. And I'll tell you what I told Hugh Jordan. Come on my channel and explain to my people and our community your style of journalism. I'm waiting for a reply. I'm looking forward to hearing from you. So that's where we're at in Northern Ireland. Okay? We've got people like me being attacked. These people here being called far right. Our politicians are silenced while our police officers are out here. Turn it round. Show the camera. To show them right round. Right behind you, mate. That's what they're here. That's our PSNI. Watching the concerned parents, fathers, mothers, grannies, granddads, aunties and uncles concerned about what they see in England and Ireland. And this is what they do. They watch us like they're watching me right now. Show them they're turned around, they're watching. Look, show them again when they're turned around and they're looking right at us. So that's them being told, just watch, look at freedom, because they're watching us live right now. This is, they not maybe not them guys in there because they probably won't be allowed. So I'm not going to get them into trouble. But the people at the top are watching the live. The politicians are watching the live. The journalists are watching the live. You know, this is what we're up against. This is the battle against us. So instead of watching the lives, guys, why don't you do something that all these I'm talking to you, do something these are not used to. Be honest to the people. That's aye. Be honest to the people. You know, tell them what's going on in England. Tell them why it's happened. Let's talk about the Fabian Society. Let's talk about the left wing and the power that they have. Let's talk about hope, not hate, and end racism, who run riot in England and destroyed patriotism on behest of the government. Let's talk about the facts that we know. You know, let's talk about why Nick Knowles, who was in charge of Hope Not Hate, put a statement out saying that on Twitter that there was a Muslim woman hit by acid. And from that, Muslim men, the Muslim Defence League, came out onto the streets of England to hunt down Englishmen for retaliation. You tell me why that man was never taken to court for that, while so many people that put up hurty words on Facebook ended up getting 2.5 years in jail. That's what the people want to know. That's what the people know. That's what we want you to talk about. Instead of watching this and trying to find something on me and trying to find some way to push that nonsense of me being racist and far right, instead of looking in and seeing the guy isn't actually racist, because you can tell. I've checked my relationships out. You know what I mean? Not a racist bone in my body. I've got fucking African friends, Nigerian immigrants that came to this country and integrated quite happily. Best friends. It's ridiculous to everybody around me when you call me far right racist, but that's what you're throwing out on the papers all the time, and it's not right. It is not right. We just want you to help us, your kids, all of your kids, unless you're planning to disappear to another country when the shit hits the fan. Okay, we can't. We don't have that luxury, but we are your citizens, and we are asking for your help. And I know you don't like the style and whatever, but when you step up, when the people start changing, start changing the rhetoric, the politicians start speaking up properly and not worrying about the consequences and letting the people decide instead of Westminster decide, then I will disappear. I will step back. You don't need to try and get rid of me. Just do your job and I'll go. You know what I mean? Simple as that. I'm not here for money. I don't need the shit I go through because of all this, because of all the headlines, having to explain myself over and over again. There's better things to do in life. I love my country and I want to stay. I want to bring my daughter here one day. And I'm wanting your help to help me do that. But no, nobody's helping me. Everybody's attacking me, apart from the people on the streets in my community. So yes, guys, we're at the chimney corner. These people are out here in the piss and rain. And it's not about numbers. It's never about numbers. When you got our demos, we got people going live, we got people doing videos, we got photographs getting taken, and they do TikToks and they put it on Facebook. Every single people, they know what they're doing. These guys know what they're doing, and it's pissing my rain. And what do you expect? It's Saturday. People have got lives they get on with, but the government will always push. The papers will always push this one thing. They'll always say there was nobody turned up. There was hardly anybody there. But the truth of the fact is that there's everybody there. They're just not here right now. And don't forget that. I'm Freedom Dad. Come from the chimney corner on a really wet, beautiful day. God bless.